Entering the Chinese market. With a population exceeding 1.3 billion, continued economic growth, and a large supply of inexpensive and productive labor, China lures businesses from around the world. Despite criticism of its unwieldy bureaucracy and complex business practices, most global companies agree that you can't be successful if you ignore this huge emerging market. In this segment, we'll talk about how companies opt to enter the Chinese market. There are 4 key ways to enter the Chinese market: exporting, licensing and franchising, opening a representative office, establishing a Chinese subsidiary, equity joint ventures, or a wholly owned foreign enterprises, WOFs or WOFIs. It's clear for those experienced in dealing with China that there isn't one best way to enter China, and some firms use a combination of entry methods. Companies have to consider a number of financial, operational, and resource factors. Exporting to China. Exporting may be effective for companies that can't or won't make any significant financial investment in the Chinese market. A company can sell into China either through a local distributor or through its own local sales subsidiary. Government export trade offices can help find a local Chinese distributor. The Internet is an efficient way for foreign and Chinese companies to find one another and conduct business. Using distributors can have its own challenges. Often, Chinese distributors sell multiple products and sometimes even competing ones. Making sure that the Chinese distributor favors your product over another can be hard to monitor. If a firm merely exports to China, the Chinese distributor or buyer might switch purchases to a cheaper supplier, or even just threaten to in order to get a better price. Or, someone might start making the product within China and threaten your market share. Licensing and franchising. Under a licensing or franchising agreement, a foreign company grants rights on its tangible property, like technology or a brand name, to a Chinese company for a specified period of time. In return, it receives a royalty. While the foreign company usually has no ownership interests, it often provides ongoing support and advice. Foreign companies are sometimes concerned about protecting their intellectual property. Despite progress in creating a legal framework to protect company assets from theft, China's laws in this area are still evolving. Thus, companies that enter China via licensing or franchising run the risk that a new competitor will steal their valuable intellectual property. Opening a rep office. The firm may opt to enter China via foreign direct investment, FDI, which implies investing directly in the country to establish a physical presence there. Local representative offices are the easiest type of offices for foreign firms to set up, but they may be limited by Chinese law to performing liaison activities. They can't sign sales contracts or directly bill customers or supply parts and deliver certain services for a fee. Nevertheless, many rep offices find ways to get around the restrictions. Despite limitations on its scope of business activities, a rep office works well for many companies wanting to retain control and ownership in the target market. Establishing a Chinese subsidiary. Establishing a full-fledged subsidiary is the most advanced form of entry through FDI. Companies that are ready to commit long-term to a market often choose to establish a subsidiary, whether through a majority-owned joint venture or as a wholly owned enterprise. Historically, the Chinese government did not allow foreign companies to wholly own a local subsidiary. The government strongly encouraged joint ventures with local firms as a way for Chinese companies to gain access to the technology, capital, equipment, and know-how of foreign firms. The risk to the foreign company was that if the venture soured, the Chinese company could end up keeping all the assets developed in the venture. Today, the Chinese government permits foreign firms to develop wholly owned enterprises in China. Many foreign companies choose to enter China via Hong Kong. They may set up a Hong Kong company or use a Hong Kong-based Chinese company as a partner. Given its commercial history based on capitalism, Hong Kong has long been accustomed to interacting with foreign firms and business people. As a result, many companies find it easier to deal through a Hong Kong firm. Moreover, English is more widely spoken in Hong Kong than on the Chinese mainland. For most companies doing business in China, local nuances of the market make some form of collaboration desirable. For firms that opt for a collaborative approach, finding the right Chinese partner is possibly the most important factor for ensuring success. A good partner can help the foreigner navigate the often complex commercial and government landscape in China. A good partner has connections and can help the foreigner find customers. Navigating the local Chinese bureaucracy is tough, even for the most experienced firms. Just about any large venture in China at some point encounters the Ministry of Commerce. China has a vast bureaucracy, although it is being revamped, and a maze of government agencies and regulations. Regardless of which entry strategy a company chooses, several factors are always important. Cultural and linguistic differences. These affect all relationships and interactions inside the company, with customers, and with the government. Quality and training of local contacts and/or employees. Evaluating the skill sets and determining if the local staff is qualified is a key factor for success. Understanding the unique business and regulatory relationships that affect their industry. And, perhaps the most important, the experience and compatibility of the partner company when entering through a joint venture. Since joining the World Trade Organization, China has been drawn even more into the global economy. Companies continue to vie for access to its 1.3 billion consumers and its low-cost and productive labor pool. More than ever, China is a powerhouse of growth and opportunity.